final bit of this video before I start babbling entirely too much, which I think I might already have done. It's going to be looking at some of those nail polishes that I promised. So I have some of the recent sets from the Plastik, which has released a lot of nail polishes lately, some really fanciful, cool designs. So this is the Omega and Slink applier. There's also a Maitreya applier, as you can see. And you've got some really nifty designs here. I think I need to go even closer to give you a good look at these. We're just gonna have my hand in focus. So you have these beautiful designs with, I think this one was inspired by the Japanese art of mending broken objects with gold. Sort of, you leave the cracks very visible, but you use gold to mend them, and you get these fabulous looks. I love the veining feel of these. So those are really, really neat. I like that they don't look too modern necessarily. This is something that I could perhaps use with some fantasy looks. And here we have another set. And it's on a similar theme, but with some different colors. So here you've got these lovely reddish pink tips to go with it. And these are very cracked up like that, almost like lightning, I think. Just gonna show you some examples of each. That's a really nice bold design. And here we have this really white and gold look. Very pure, elegant. And here we have a set which I seem to recall was very golden. I think there might be a Midas reference in the name here. So you've got these looks of, basically, it looks like smelted gold, gold that has sort of cooled off, or different blends of gold. This is a really nice one, the very light one. Here's a bit of a speckling of gold and blue. They're all very reflective. Very cool. These are really nice, and they look great on the stiletto ones, I think. Then we have the smelted, which had an interesting sort of liquid metal feel to it. So here we have some red and copper. Very striking. Get this rose look as well. Ooh, that looks beautiful with this dress. And then a more of a straight up, very yellow gold there. And this dark one, kind of maybe a dark bronze. And finally we had fade versions of the smelted. We'll see how they look. And they fade, I see they fade a color in over like this. So you've got like a purple and a silver like this. Or a red and gold. Kind of a sunsetty color. This one's very springy with the green. This has a bit of a spring feel too, combining that gold and purple like that. Or you might want to do a green fading into a copper or a rose. So if you want some fanciful nails, you definitely want to check out the Plastik. So there's been an enormous amount of releases lately. They should have you covered in terms of what nails you use and what hands you use. Because they're Omega as well, they should work on the Vista Bento hands too. So you have two options for having Bento hands these days for women, I think. Actually, there are some more. I think there's the Tonic brand, I think, released at the Skin Fair as well. Don't know if they are Omega or not. I haven't tried them myself. But the two biggest ones right now ought to be the Vista and of course the Slink, since the Slink was an update for anyone who already had Slink hands. And if you didn't, by the way, have the multi-pack, that means that you wouldn't have gotten those posters. But you can buy additional posters at the store, and obviously you can use other people's hand posters as well. But it's of course good to have a nice basic selection so that you don't have to make posters for your hands whenever you need to hold something or just have the hand rest in a particular way. It's nice to have a starting point as well if you want to tweak it with the hand poser. So I think that gives a good sense of a little bit of what you can do with the dynamic hands from Slink, and also how you can prettify them with nail polishes from the Plastik. And that's it for this time around. I don't quite know if I will do another video specifically on Kate. I'll have a ponder, see if maybe doing a look at some shapes in Kate could be interesting. Otherwise, I'm sure there will be some more unboxings or other things in the future, and I have my eye on some other Bento things that should be fun to report on. Until then. Hi, this is Freya from Otherworldly, and today I thought I would take a closer look at the Bento hands from Slink that came out, I guess it's a couple of weeks ago now, but with the skin fair and everything else in between, I've been a little bit busy, and I've obviously worn them every day since then, but I haven't really done a closer look at them, so I thought I would combine that with looking at some Bento animations and also some new nail polishes from the Plastik. And I've set the scene here with a very spring-focused scenery. It's inspired by the Altar of Ostara event that is going on right now, and I've got a little altar cloth with some decorations from Paper Moon in the background, and I've set up my druid temple from Extraordinary in one of my landscape unlimited builds, or one of their landscapes rather. So this is another of their mesh sky landscapes, and I'll give you a little bit of a look around here. Again, I've combined one of the solid mesh landscapes that you can color up in 4 different seasons, and then I've set that with a surround that is supposed to be used at land level, which I think works quite well in the sky. And then I've used some of the animated sky water as well, which looks really weird when you don't have advanced lighting on, but it looks lovely when you do. So here I've got my little temple set up, and here's myself, and I'm also wearing, the gown I'm wearing is also from the Altar of Ostara event. It is from Senzafine, and it comes in some lovely sort of pale springy colors or slightly faded colors, and then some brighter colors as well. The skin I've got is another Skin Fair skin. This one is from Your Skin and Your Shape, and it is for the Lilutka heads. So I am wearing Kate again. I haven't done a proper review of Kate either, come to think of it, but obviously the Lilutka heads have been reviewed in some detail now in terms of their functionality and so on. So, and I think that with the various posts I've done, I've shown a lot of the different looks that you can get on Kate, but maybe we should take a closer look at how she looks with this particular skin and shape combination. So again, I've done what's a fairly strong face, I would say, a rather prominent nose and cheekbones and everything, and I think that goes really well on this skin. I've realized that the only thing that I have a bit of a quibble with when it comes to the Lilutka heads is that the ears stick out a bit. The Barbara head from JEG actually has a control for the angle of the ears, and sometimes I wish that actually the Lilutka head had something similar, because the ears do poke out a little bit, and with some hairstyles you can't obviously hide the whole ear, because then you're gonna have a hole in the side of your head and it's gonna look like you're missing an ear, which isn't a very attractive look at all. It works fine here, obviously. It means that you can tuck the hair behind, so there's some thought to it. But sometimes when you're wearing an updo or a tight style like that, you realize that your ears have a little bit of a tendency to look like you're going to start flapping them. But anyway, that's that little quibble. And I'll give you a closer look as well before I move on to the oops, I got it a little bit so it's actually going through the altar stone here. That's why we're getting that flickering. But here you've got this lovely little spring decoration with a little bunny and some eggs and some little flowers and very springy colors. But hands, that is going to be our focus this time. First of all, I'm going to look at what you get when you either buy your new Slink dynamic hands, as they're called, or when you upgrade your existing Slink hands. And I had the multi-pack of female hands, which means that my the update that was sent out included the new dynamic hands. You got all the other bits and pieces that came with hands before, like you've got skin matching textures and a HUD. You've got the RGB HUD for tinting. You've got your different alpha layers and also the textures here for tinting to match up. And you've got a pack of the static hands included as well, if for some reason you want to use those. You've got your avatar enhancement hand and feet utilities HUD that is all baked together, where you can control the nails and the length and so on. You have add-on nails is a new one, so you can see that here you have one nail attachment. Basically each style of nail comes with 3 different lengths and a HUD for controlling the lengths. So you have your basic nails on, and then you can add on these different nails if you prefer. And when you do that, you go and put on the HUD like that, and you can change the length like this. And I believe there were 1 or 2 more packs of these out at the skin fair. Normally I just go with the most basic thing when it comes to nails. The sort of looks with fantasy looks and everything that I go for don't really lend themselves to really fancy nails, unless I'm going for the witchy kind, which makes me realize that some really nice long witchy claws would be something to have actually. Anyway, you've got the options here, so you can have some really long sexy nails if you want that. In terms of using the dynamic hands, they have obviously here I am actually using some AOs or animations from AOs that have hand motions in them, but there is also an additional hand motion, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a pose here, and you're going to see that my hands still move. This is the idle animation that is built in, so even if you don't have a Bento pose or a pose that controls your hands, you're still going to have some, you can still have some of the sort of slight hand motion, which really just makes everything look much more realistic if your hands are moving a bit. This is turned on and off with 15, idle off in this case, and the hands will stop. And then you just go 15, idle on when you want the hands back on. And then we'll take off the pose again, and we're going to look at what I've got in my AO at the moment. There's actually 3 stands here. One of them is from Vista Animations, and that one is not, maybe it was Bento capable actually. I think it's Bento capable as well, yes. And then there are 2 from Body Language, Sweet Lovely Cute, and I couldn't tell you off the top of my head which sets they were from, but they were from recently released sets. That's the awkward thing when you buy individual animations. Trying to remember what you actually got is a bit of a challenge. I should probably have put them into folders or something. I tend to find that getting a whole AO, there are too many things that are just too much movement. That's my general quibble with the Sweet Lovely Cute. There's some great motion captured movement there, but they're too fidgety for my tastes. So I managed to pick out one. There were two different sets that I managed to pick out one animation from each, which I thought had some, not too much body movement, but some nice natural hand movements just to play with my new Bento hands. And then we have another option for doing things with our hands now. Obviously the animations is sort of an everyday thing that you can just add realism with, but you could also, and for this we're going to have the pose again, and we're going to take off the idle animation so that the hands stay still. Which they don't seem to be inclined to do at the moment. I'll get back to you on that one, unless it's my AO. I'll probably turn that one off as well. Ah, yes. This time it was actually the AO interfering. Now, the hands stopped in a rather up-curled position, but that's just good for what I'm going to be doing next, which is using the Fate hand poser. Now this one came out really quickly with the first Vista Bento hands, and Damien Fate, who makes an awful lot of cool things for making your second life easier, like the eye poser that I'm always wearing. His eyelashes are also great, and there's just tons of little things. His eyes, I use them quite a bit as well, even if I've been stuck in my mayfly eyes a lot lately. But anyway, these are basically for controlling your hands. And now obviously they don't actually have the pose that they relate to the pose that the hand is currently in. So what I'll do is I will set the hands into a pose so that we can more easily see them. And then we have the option, as you can see, for puppeteering, so we could actually control somebody else's Bento hands too. We can mess with the AO to turn it on or off. We can control the hands individually. Now they're both active. And if we don't want to use the preset poses, there are presets here, and then you can actually save additional presets. You can go and starting to basically mess around with your hands. Let me see which one is which. I think this is it. Is anything happening? Yes, something's happening. So as you can see, you can create an absolutely ridiculous number of specific hand poses. You can adjust your hand pose when you're holding something so that it fits right around that mug or sword or whatever. If you have couple poses, you can make sure that your hand is resting exactly around the curve of somebody's shoulder or something like that, because you can control them not only the curve of the hand, and then you have the curve further down, so you have that each finger is in two parts, and then you can turn it sideways like this. Do some weird things with it. You have control over the palm of your hand, which will bring your thumb in like that. You have control over some of the tilt of the hand even, so that you don't have to bring out your full-on poser, like any pose or whatever you might use to control, you know, tweak inward poses. Instead, you can just do it like this. We've neglected the other hand, so maybe we'll do something with that one too. Bring the thumb in, curve it around like that. That looks uncomfortable, actually. And as you see, you can just quickly and easily curl up your hands, and there you have a fist. We'll see how it looks, basically. I think that Damien Fatale calculated how many different variations you could make, and there was a frightening amount, basically. So if you need a specific hand pose, this is how you do it. Or just, as I said, if you need to adjust an existing pose, this is how you do it. Then you save your presets if it's something you really like. And there you go. I haven't yet used it in a photo. I haven't done that many photos with props lately where I need to be touching something, or any couple photos. So, but I can definitely see the use for this. I'm very glad that I picked it up, and this is something that, as a photographer at least, you really should have in your arsenal. So I'm gonna set my hands back to this sort of neutral state. Take this one off for now, and then we're also going to look at, because I forgot to show you something with the Slink ones. You might think that, wait, I used to have all these Slink hand positions. Where have they gone? Well, you do in fact have your Slink hand positions. They are in the base static pose HUD. And here you go. You have all of the positions that you previously used, and that previously used to be individual hands. So again, you can put them on like this for both, or you can actually go in and put on one, just one like that, and activate. So you have all your poses. There will be more poses sold eventually, and a lot of options for doing, you know, fun stuff with your hands.